Hey there, quick interjection before we start this video. If you like my content, please like and subscribe if you would like to do that. That would be really neat for me. And on with the video. Thank you. Adventure Time is one of my favorite shows ever. The way that they tackle time and space and existence and just relationships to other characters goes beyond just like a kid's entertainment show. I think they just do a really good job of addressing that, and that can be for a later episode, but right now I want to zoom in a little bit. The Lemon Grab saga in Adventure Time is freaking awesome. I think the story arc of the Lemon Grabs are super cool, which is really hinged on them as characters, what they fail to see, what the lemon people are doomed to feel, and their outside existence, them just having a whole like side story arc of themselves has always been what is like the epitome of what draws me to Adventure Time. While everything is going on, the Lemon Grabs continue to exist and have problems, and things go crazy and things don't. Initially, when watching the show as a younger person, Earl of Lemon Grab and the Lemon Grab Kingdom always represented to me the idea that there's so much more to this universe than we know, than we are shown from day-to-day episodes. But we're not going to talk about Lemon Grabs as a whole. We're not going to talk about the story arc. We're actually going to zoom in a little bit more. All Your Fault is a very simple but super well-done episode in early Season 5. It is episode 9 of Season 5. For specifics, there's nothing crazy standoutish about this episode. Nothing happens that has an intense, lasting impact on the narrative arc of Adventure Time as a whole. I absolutely love this episode, and for a plethora of reasons, all the themes that they get into in this episode are really interesting to me. But there's one thing about this episode that I really love that is 100 billion% worth dissecting, and that is Lemon John. Princess Bubblegum of the Candy Kingdom gets a message that the Lemon Kingdom is starving, and she claims she gave them a lifetime supply of food. Finn and Jake are given seeds to send to make some more food for the Lemon Kingdom. Finn and Jake are greeted by lemon children, including Lemon John, who points in the direction of the Lemon Grabs. On their way to find them, Finn and Jake stumble upon rooms with giant internal organs. Upon finding the Lemon Grabs, they find out that the Earls have been creating candy life out of their food and ruin the seeds that they are given. Finn suggests that they go to see Princess Bubblegum to help out with the Lemon Grab's candy problems. The Earls take this proposal at a different angle and call upon Lemon John to take the Candy Kingdom's candy, claiming to Finn, "It's all your fault! All your fault!" Finn and Jake go back to find Lemon John's unbeating heart and punch it into starting. Lemon John awakens to a greater understanding of the consequences of his impending destruction, but finds if he doesn't continue this path, his people will starve. Lemon John makes the ultimate decision to break into candy for his people to eat, and the episode wraps up with Princess Bubblegum erasing the part of the Lemon Grab's brains that know how to make candy life. Now this says here, make a quirky transition into the next section. This episode is really well done. Just a couple things I'd like to point out. First, at the beginning, Finn and Jake falling out of Princess Bubblegum's tower. That just looks super cool. Right after they fall out of the tower, they head straight towards the Lemon Kingdom. The way that the shot cuts here and the music stops accentuates the idea of existence happening elsewhere. The atmosphere is different. This is a different kingdom. These are different people who have been living and existing this entire time. They're existing here. They're existing here. We get a camera on this point, but they've still been going on. And that's happening 10 times. That's happening in so many different kingdoms with so many different people. So very interesting, super cool. Moving on. In the moment where the Lemon Grabs say, "It's all your fault," and activate Lemon John, or just call upon him in order to destroy the Candy Kingdom and take all their candy, the building is falling apart, Lemon John is standing up, Finn and Jake fall out the front, and suddenly they're towering above the land. This entire sequence is incredibly well done. From animation, to music, to sound design, to voice acting, all of it is super climactic and incredibly... I absolutely love it. There's more pieces to this. I could go on and on about just how well this episode is done logistically, but I really want to get to more thematic elements that are also very neat. The Lemon people, as a people, have their own journey throughout the series and have their own way of life. Like every character does, they have a crucial flaw, and theirs is blaring. The Lemon people's prose is very high, very dignified and respected. Their language is incredibly sophisticated in comparison to Finn and Jake's.
Lemons with bellies empty but for their lemon lusts.
Whatever, Lemon John. We've got to give those dumb butts these seeds.
The way that they hold themselves seems to just be above all. What's fascinating is that they come to incredibly primitive conclusions. None of the lemon people, especially the lemon grabs, have any understanding of what it means to exist and have another person exist with them. That they may have feelings and that I may have feelings and understanding. This is just the nature of the lemon people.
Their hearts are fine. They're just like this.
A very high prose, but a very low form of being, whereas Finn and Jake have actual common sense, actual understanding of another person, yet they don't have this great lemon prose, this great lemon way of being.
Are you lemon?
I think that's a really interesting juxtaposition of oneself, to be very held in high regard, but totally missing it in life. This is emphasized especially in this episode when the lemon folk take absolutely no responsibility for themselves. That would be the main theme of this episode, all your fault. The lemon grabs have everyone to blame, except for themselves. Another really huge theme in this episode specifically is the knowledge of creating life. The lemon grabs are creating life out of what should keep them alive. What makes them starve and what kills them is the fact that their food source is becoming their people. They're giving their life an existence, and they can't help it. It's not necessarily out of a selfless need, it's out of an addiction.
I looked deep in myself and found that I'm a guy who can't stop making candy life from the food he needs.
Addiction supported by the idea that it's not their fault. They have learned the candy recipe for life from Princess Bubblegum offhand. They are able to blame her for not having food and starving a colony of people that they've created out of their food. There's a piece to that with the lemon grab relationship to their food. They're creating what kills them. And there's an interesting people relationship to that. Their people, their existence is what kills themselves. Because they were created, they have no food. Because I'm alive, because I'm constructed of the food that I should eat, I will die. I think the weakest point of this episode is when Finn and Jake straight up plot device their way through a solution. Earlier, they clearly see organs. Earlier, it sets them up for success. While they're hanging off a giant walking building, they have a direct passage to the heart, which will stop Lemon John from destroying the Candy Kingdom. They come to this conclusion insanely quickly. Bop, bop. Hey, isn't that the juice that was pouring out of the grate that had Lemon John's heart in it?
Unless that's it there with the juice coming out. Remember all that juice from before?
Oh yeah.
This could be a commentary on plot devices. Oh, this is this and this is this. Let's add these puzzle pieces together super quick. But I actually think it's something more. I think they're getting at something within the episode itself. I think they're saying this isn't Finn and Jake's story. We're not dealing with Finn and Jake's problems. We're dealing with the Lemon Kingdom's problems. But by the end of the episode, the lemon people don't learn anything. The lemon grabs get off scot-free. The only thing that changes for them is that they erased the message or the understanding of how to make candy life. So who actually grows in this episode? Who is this episode really about?
What the thing is up with this guy?
Does your head come to a nub?
What?
You are on lemon.
Lemon John's the only person in this episode that has a character arc. Nobody else truly changes. Nobody else fully realizes something and changes in this episode other than Lemon John. Lemon John comes to the conclusion that he should sacrifice himself for his people. After his heart starts to beat, Lemon John starts to feel and says this line.
Whoa, hold the phone. What is this powerful new juice coursing from my core source? The juice aches. Is this the rumored ache of feeling? The feeling of caring unknown to lemons?
Lemon John in this moment is the highest form of lemon life. A lemon that actually understands. A lemon that actually has feelings for other people. A lemon person that actually has perspective. And because of this perspective, and because of this ultimate understanding, Lemon John sacrifices himself.
New thoughts emerge. If I act, the candy people will suffer. If I don't, the lemon people will suffer. The greater good demands but one course only. That I dissolve the bonds uniting me and become component to all.
Oh, dang. He turned himself all up into lemon candy. Man, that Lemon John's all right.
I identify myself as a Christian person. I believe that Jesus died and rose for my sins. This depiction of Lemon John finally reaching true understanding is the most Jesus-like thing to me. And if you don't subscribe to Christianity, because neither do I, just understand to me that this is the most important thing. I have said this a ton of times before. I equate understanding and perspective with wisdom. To understand that you are a person among many that have their own experiences and hopefully would have their own perspective. That understanding is wisdom to me. The ultimate act in this case would be self-sacrifice, giving of oneself and service to endeavors that are bigger than you. That is very important to me. From a storytelling standpoint, also freaking super good. Lemon John reaches the ultimate conclusion and has an actual development and growth. And from that, he dies. Because he reached this ultimate understanding, he is gone. He becomes component for all, and all his people will not suffer anymore. Now we don't see Lemon John for the rest of the series. Now he's gone because he is the food that the lemon people will eat for generations to come. That is really good storytelling to me. Lemon John is for sure my favorite character. This episode is about his growth. That's what makes this episode so cool to me, is because Lemon John is the only one out of everybody who has an arc, who finally really reaches understanding. And then he's gone.